Hey everyone! Welcome back to our Family on Mission campaign.
Yes, and in this video we have someone, our dear friend Danny Christian, who's in the healthcare system that Austin had an opportunity to chat with.
Yeah, like we said in our previous video, these videos is going to be a little bit different than how we've done it in the past because we believe as a family on mission, just as much as you guys are part of our story, what the Lord is doing through all of you is also part of the story of our story, but also the body of Christ. And so we want to take a chance to just highlight what the Lord is doing all throughout the world, because it's not just us that the Lord is doing things through, it's all of you that are part of this family. So we're really excited.
This is Danny Christian, like we probably said. Full disclosure to everyone, we already tried this before. Yesterday, I screen recorded and didn't realize that doesn't record sound for me. So that was great. But we're going to do this again because Danny has a testimony. And briefly introduction for Danny. Danny is one of my best friends, has been for a long time. We became friends in a period of about 3 days. We went on a trip together randomly with a few other friends down to Kansas City, where I'm at right now, and just became instant friends. Danny is probably one of the most loving, caring people you could ever meet. One of the two previous most eligible bachelors at UNW, self-proclaimed, I may add. But now not an eligible bachelor, praise God. And he's just an incredible guy. He's ran with Hannah and I ever since Hannah and I knew each other. Danny was one of the first people I told I liked Hannah. Just an incredible all-around guy. And he's a nurse in the cities. And yeah, Danny, say hi.
Hello. That was such a kind introduction.
Well, you're worth it. So Danny, as we hop into this, as you know, we're kind of just sharing testimonies from everyone that we know or people that we know, because we're a family on mission. It's not just Hannah and I, like you're a supporter of ours, you're a friend of ours, but more than that, you're a kingdom worker who's trying to make a difference everywhere that you go. And so we believe that it's not just our story, that this is a story that the Lord's writing all across the earth. And so do you mind sharing just even a quick testimony? Because we talked a little bit yesterday about the testimony of what the Lord's doing in nursing, and specifically just one quick story.
Yeah. So obviously, like Austin said, I'm a nurse and I work at a nursing home as an infection control specialist. So going around making sure infections don't get to the residents. And in one particular time, I'm with this one resident who is notoriously like that stereotype grumpy old guy in the nursing home. He doesn't want to leave his room. He's rude. He's mean to people, and he has this stigma around him. And even to the extent where they don't want you to go into his room unless there's more than one person with you. And I'll keep him anonymous, obviously.
Yeah.
But we were working on some stuff in his room, and at one point, the other nurses had to leave, so it was just me and him. And I kind of took it as like a little bit of a personal challenge where it's like, this is what I've heard everyone talk about him. Let's see if it holds up if I try to bring those walls down a little bit. So I started engaging with him and asking him questions. And initially I run into this wall that he was so famous for, right?
Yeah.
And the questions I'm asking him start just becoming increasingly personal. And as I'm asking him questions and we're talking and I'm kind of like meeting him in a real spot, I start to see that wall come down, and I start to realize like he doesn't want those walls there.
Yeah.
But he put it there because he's trying to protect himself and he's trying to defend himself because there's hurt there. And as I'm asking questions, I realize that he's actually really lonely.
Wow.
And he's depressed and he's been searching for peace and he doesn't have it. And like I said, it's just me and him in the room. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what a great landing pad for the gospel to come in.
Yeah.
So I start preaching the gospel to him through this perspective of Jesus as peace bringer. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, I actually know somebody who brings peace into every room that he walks into. He's like, oh, is that the guy from the 4th floor? And I was like, that's hilarious. No, it's not. He sounds like a great guy. It's actually Jesus. Yeah. And he has peace as an invitation for you that you can take a hold of whenever you want. I extend my hand to him like this, like I'm like Jesus would be offering him peace. And as I'm doing that, he stops and he says, as you're doing that, can feel Jesus, and I can see Jesus literally giving me his hand, offering me peace. And in your hand, I see like an orb of light, or I see light coming from your hands. And I was like, whoa, I don't see any light, but I'm happy that you do. No, and he sees this and he feels this personal invitation and extension of peace from like Jesus himself as I'm just like talking to him. And since then, because obviously I work there and I can visit him, I've seen him engaging more and more with the Lord. I saw him for the first time that I've ever seen this. He left his room like voluntarily in the middle of the day where everybody else is around. Wanted to go hear somebody playing worship. Somebody's playing worship in somebody else's room. He left his room to the door so he could go worship. With nobody looking. And I was there. And just follow-up conversations and his receptiveness to Jesus and his desire for the gifts and the things that Jesus brings with him in this kingdom in moment in his room.
That's incredible, man. Oh my gosh. I think it's so cool too, because obviously you and I have both been overseas before, and overseas you kind of expect those type of things to happen, especially in like some of the Asian countries that we've both been to. But like praying for a man clothed in white to appear in dreams. Like I remember that was a big thing that we did over there, and it happened all the time. And it's like, so we expect those things in other countries, but for some reason in America, we don't expect those. Like we don't expect our hand to go out and then all of a sudden they'll see light in there, or like those crazy things that happen, but like they happen, and they're happening in everyday life, just like what you just said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say is like what you're seeing in Minneapolis? Just a quick like overview. So obviously that was like your specific circumstance, but then if you zoomed out a little bit, looked at Minneapolis or Minnesota as a whole, what are you seeing happening in that place?
Yeah. I'll just say it's exciting. I love what the Lord is doing here, and I'm really happy to be participating in it. And what's happening right now is the Lord is building up believers to take personal responsibility, not only for their personal faith, but for the Great Commission. In the faith, and for the gospel to be preached and to go out, and not just street corner like soapbox evangelism, which there's for sure a place for, but like in the spheres, people are going to work and they're preaching the gospel and they're living out the gospel and they're bringing kingdom. And it's a step past, I'm going to go to my work and I'm going to show that I'm a Christian by doing the best job that I can. I'm going to be excellent at my, and I'm going to make sure that you know that the only reason I'm able to do this, or the only reason I'm performing with this character, is because of the work that Jesus has done inside of me. And it's a personal responsibility people are taking, where it's like, it is my job to bring the gospel to people. Jesus asked me, and in my context and my environment, I'm not waiting for the next guy to do it. I'm going to do it. And not only am I.
Dude. I mean, I'm so encouraged by that. I mean, we've heard pastors say this before, but it's not just up to the full-time missions people, right? Like it's not just for the pastors. It's not just for the missionaries. It's like everywhere that we go, every Christian needs to take responsibility for what the Lord has called them to do. Like even here we talk about, it's like, what's your all? Like what is, where are you called? And just go after that place. That could be your family, that could be your school, that could be your work. But it's like, man, we just all got to go after this thing together. And that's how we're going to see this world change, right? Like it's not going to be it's not going to be a couple individuals. It's going to be the whole body of Christ coming together, which I think is so cool. With this friendship that we've had for so long, is like we've known that we've had very different calls ever since we became friends. And at the same time, to see us challenge and go after each other, I think that's what we need in the body. Is we need people who are nurses, teachers, doctors, who are full-time missionaries and pastors, all respecting and honoring each other's calling and then going after the same together.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, bro, it was a pleasure to have you on here. And like you already know this, you're the first one that will be featured on here. But it's an honor. Everyone stay tuned. Danny and I have talked about starting a podcast for the last like 3 years. You know, it probably should happen.
2020.
Yeah, it might
2022.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching that video. Stay tuned to watch more videos that we would be uploading more, and even chatting more with our friends all around the world to see what the Lord is doing.
Thank you guys. Love you. Bye.